How are you guys doing today? Oh, I'm just gonna adjust a smidgen so you can see, because you couldn't see before. Now you should be able to see.
Yum surprise! Oh, find the yum this Easter. The sweetest surprise for every Easter.
I'm not sure what I did there. There we go. Okay. Well, life's interesting. It's live, I guess. Hey. Are you wanting to try water marbling at home? Well, today we are going to try a new kit. We've got this one, and I probably am going to murder how to say their name. I should have looked that up before I started, but I'm going to call it Pebeo. Got different pronunciation because it's got all these markings for the pronunciation on the top, but we're going to test this kit. So if we haven't met before, hi, my name is Krista. I teach the art of water marbling here in the central Okanagan of British Columbia, Canada. And I am on a mission to kind of test and try out some different kits to find how can you start at home, some easy and affordable ways to test out marbling at home. So I went to my local art store where I live called Opus, and they had this kit and I decided to grab it. Do I remember how much it was? No, I would say it was somewhere between $20 and $30. So yeah, so tell me where you're watching from, because this kit is by a company, a French company, I'm reading my notes, that was established in 1919. It was originally a chemical company, but has evolved into an international brand known for high quality art supplies. It's also known for developing the first ready-to-use paints in France, which I thought was a really cool tidbit to share. So in the kit, it comes with a few things in the kit, and which I think it seems like a really good little kit. So it's got, this was the less expensive kit of the two. There was another one that had bigger volumes of items. So this one comes with the marbling bath, which is what you're going to prepare. So that's what I've got here. So 2 hours ago, I mixed 4 cups of cold water. I used the blender with 2 teaspoons of this marbling bath. Do I know what it is? What it's made of? No. It seems very similar to the Carrageenan bath, so I'm assuming that's what I'm using. And then it's got that same gel feel. It's got that same gel feel of that's weird. It's got the same gel feel of our normal bath. So in the instructions it says prepare the bath by rapidly mixing 2 teaspoons in 1 liter of cold water. So rapidly, I decided to use the blender, which is what I normally use. So we're trying out this kit. So that's the marbling bath that I've mixed with water, and it's sat here for 2 hours waiting for me. Oh, you know what I did? I made today's live for tomorrow, didn't I? Oops, that's okay. Well, if you're watching, say hi. So at least I know somebody's out there in YouTube land. So in here there's French, English. I don't know what all these languages stand for. So there's lots of different languages for the instructions. So it'd be a great kit for anybody all over the world. It says bright colors, water-based for the production of marble on paper, fabric, or cardboard. Prepare a bath with the marbling bath. So that's what I've already done. Drop the color drops on the surface of the bath, then place on the surface of paper, wood, light fabric, or plaster to transfer the patterns. On light fabric, let dry and fix the designs with an iron. Watercolors miscible with each other. What is miscible? Maybe mixable? I'm not sure what that word means. I should have looked that up. Okay, so that's the kit. That's what we're gonna test out today. Okay, so if you've got a comment, put it in there. If you got a question, put it in there. You know how I love questions. So one of the things I noticed with this kit is there's no application. So with some of the other kits I've used or some of the other items I've used, we do have this option of testing out to make sure that that is to, what's the word, for lack of a better word, easier application. So this has no application option. So when I open the lid, it's just a paint bottle. So because I realized that after the fact, I went to Michael's and grabbed these pipettes. So that's how I'm gonna apply the paint to the tray, is with these pipettes. My mistake is what it is. The bigger kit did have kind of like droppers that came inside of each paint color. So that would have been a good way to go. So this kit, if I'm reading the instructions correctly, says you do not have to prepare the paper. So what I've done is I've got some paper that's prepared with alum, some paper that's not prepared with alum. So if we have like everything's not working, that way I can kind of test the difference because, well, we're here, might as well make it a great testing opportunity. Another cool thing about this paint set is, again, we're back with primary colors. So would be really cool to, oh, there's a black. You could mix a little bit of color together to make a new color. I do have a little container with a few paint pockets that I could have used. Did I prepare that? Of course not. That's not how I roll, and you guys know it. All right, so we're up for this experiment and we're ready to go. So the colors, of course, have names. So emerald green, Bengal pink, that's cute, lemon yellow, cyan, and black. So that's what came with this kit. And then I just bought these pipettes separately. I'm just gonna lay them in front so that I don't mix them up. That's, well, that's the hope at the moment, but you know how life goes. Sometimes there's chaos. Okay, so this kit doesn't talk about any of the steps to prepare this gel, but this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do my normal practice of what works for me. I'm gonna skim it with some newspaper and we're gonna test. We're gonna get rid of, there's quite a bit of foam. I don't know if you can see it. There's quite a bit of foam sitting on the surface. So I just wanna kind of clear that off before I get going. So I'm also noticing that this gel has kind of got huge clumps here. So I'm just gonna stir it for just a sec. I'm just gonna stir those clumps. But yeah, definitely very clumpy compared to what I normally work with. I imagine if I had used warm water, that probably would have helped with that process. So that might affect the way the paint works. So I do have enough left that I might test it with warmer water to see if that affects the end result. But it kind of looks like little ice cubes are hanging out in the surface. So I guess you could strain it, but we're gonna just test it as is. This is the way the process was asked to be done. Let's test it out that way. Okay, so enough talking, Krista. Let's get making. So I've got my pipette. I'm just gonna squeeze some paint up and in, and we're gonna test it out. So this is, I'm gonna start with this green, and let's see if it works. Okay. So yeah, you can see how that gel just did not, whatever the marbling bath is made of, it did not break down enough for this to float nicely on. It's still really gelled up. So the instructions were 4 cups of cold water blended with 2 teaspoons of the marbling bath and let it sit 2 hours. I did that and it's not, that's okay. It's part of experiments, right? You just never know how they'll go. So we're gonna put a little bit of yellow on there. And that paint's definitely not opening up. Let's see how the black does. Black is usually a very strong pigment, so it can really push. Nope. So I'm finding this paint is just not opening. We're gonna create some movement. Let's see what happens. Nope. So I feel like that gel was just not set enough. I think I should have used warm water, but I followed the instructions provided, and that's okay. All right, so let's go with this guy here. So this is untreated paper, so I have not allumed this paper because in the instructions it says that you don't have to. It says, yeah, just place on the surface of the paper. So I'm just gonna lay right on. And it doesn't say anything about rinsing it, so we're just gonna pull it up and have a peek. So we've created a bit of a design, trusty old cardboard. Let's see what it looks like. Yeah, nope. 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 All right, so I'm not even gonna rinse it because it's not doing what we need it to do, so I'm just gonna let it dry. So I was kind of wondering if this would happen. So you know what I've done? I have some trusty carrageenan from last week in the fridge, ready to rock. Let's test that. I'm gonna put this aside. And I'm gonna try this with warm water next time. So if I test this out again, I will test it out with warm water instead of cold water. Oh, hi in Prince Edward Island. Oh, hello there. I'm just gonna set this aside and grab my other floating gel. All right, here we go. I know this is a giant tray compared to what I was using, but the reason I used such a small tray was because that's how much gel they told me to prepare. So we'll do another round of experiment with their marbling bath, but following the instructions did not get the result I want. Okay, so this is my Jacquard Marbling Kit carrageenan that has been sitting in the fridge now for 6 days. It's kind of yellowed because I think I did quite a bit of yellow when I did the last making. So we're gonna test out these Pebeo colors and see if they do any better on regular old carrageenan. Okay, so just gonna see. There we go. Okay, so this is not working. Trying to see if I can keep up with your guys' chats over here, but I don't think I can find it. Such is life. Hello, hello, Audrey. Welcome to the water marbling party. Let's see if we can test this out. Okay, so using my pipettes, I'm gonna squeeze up a little bit of paint. Way better. Look at how that's floating. See how that's opening up? Beautiful. Okay, so that means that these paints are not the problem. That means that how we're mixing this is the problem. So I think this should have been mixed with warm water and then it would have been totally fine. Am I gonna email them and give them some feedback? Yes, I am. Or it needs longer time to sit and rest. 2 hours is not enough time. Beautiful paints. The pigments are really awesome. Really, so that blue, that blue on there is this color. Why is it looking so green? Well, the gel is yellow, gel that's yellow, blue paint, it's looking green because we're getting that reflection of light. Okay, so what we're gonna test this onto plain paper because the instructions say you don't need to alum this kit. And then once we establish if that works or doesn't work, then we'll try on some alum paper. I'm putting a lot of paint on because I just want to have that really rich saturation. Okay, so I'm just gonna do a simple movement. Let's see if it keeps its strength once it is moved. Let's test that. Yeah, that's pretty. Look at how pretty that blue is against the yellow. Wow, hey? Okay. So we've established that the paint is gonna open beautifully. It's gonna move like we need it to move, but our bath just didn't do what we needed it to do, and that's okay. All right, so now this kit says you can print onto untreated paper. So this is untreated paper. It does not have a pre-treatment of alum. So let's see how that works. We're just gonna lay right on, allow it to touch, allow it to soak up. Let's see how it does. Oh, I got an air pocket. So what happens when you get a little bit air trapped? See how it's got that pocket? Okay, so you can see how that paint is literally just moving and sliding. I'm gonna try rinsing this one, but I really think that the steps that's missing on this kit is the pre-aluming. You're gonna get a way better result with pre-aluming your paper. Yeah, that's just not. Yep, see how it's running? It's because that paper is just not treated. Now, it could also be that the recommendation might be using like a different quality of paper. That can make a difference. But let's test that on some allumed paper and see if we get a much better result. I'm gonna keep that laying flat to dry just so that that paint doesn't just drip everywhere. All right, so we do have quite a bit of paint left in the tray. Oh, I guess I should move you, hey? Is this paint set cheaper? Probably by like maybe $5 or $10. It's not that much cheaper, but it does come with way less volume of everything. Like it's a way smaller volume of the ingredients, like the mixing agents, but otherwise it's pretty comparable in price, but it doesn't have all the things that I find make water marbling work. So you probably would need to still buy a few things. I'm just gonna scoot my paint over because I can't see it. Okay, let me think. I'm just gonna add a little bit more paint to this. And then I'm gonna re-swirl this just so we're not wasting all this paint floating on here. Does that make it a bad kit? No, it just means that the process, it's tricky because you're not gonna get the results, the great results, if you don't have what you need for the process. All right, let's do another gel, get that back and forth, and let's see how this one prints. Oh, I think there's a fly in my paint. Hi, little guy. Let's get you out of there. There you go. Just stay out of the paint for now, buddy, okay? Okay, we're gonna test. So this is exactly the same paint. Nothing has changed. We're gonna test this onto some allumed paper. So this is the paper that has that pre-treatment that's gonna make it have an instant absorption. Now, I don't think I nailed that right on, but that's okay. Okay, so let's see how different that looks. Okay, still got a bit of movement, and part of that is just the gel. You can see how it's just moving. Let's see how the rinse does. Now, because it's been treated, it's got a really veiny effect, hey? With the yellow being so thin. That looks really cool. All right, let's just turn you so you guys can see. So it's gonna get a bath. This is just cold, plain water. Still a bit of running. Not loving it, honestly. Not loving the results. You can see how that paint is just bleeding a bit. Not loving it. Not loving it. Okay, we're gonna let that dry. Oops. That one's gonna drip because I've run out of flat space for it to lay on. All right, here we go. Now, whatever's left in the tray, we're just gonna clean off with some paper towel. Okay, if there alum in the kit, this kit does not come with alum. The only thing this kit includes is the marbling bath and then these 5 colors of paint. So no, if you bought this kit, you'd have to buy that separately. But let's do another tester and see how it does. It's tricky to have something that doesn't work, because sometimes I wonder if maybe it's me, maybe I did something wrong. And I know when you guys buy a kit and stuff doesn't always work out perfectly, it can be really frustrating, thinking, oh man, I just suck at this art form. But I'm doing all my processes to make sure that we see what the result's going to be, because that's part of the experiment, right? So to see what's working and what's not. So I'm doing all my same steps. I cleaned it with paper towel, skimming it just like I normally do, so that that surface tension is nice and smooth. And we're going to test again. This kit does not come with white, so that's why I'm having to start with a color as the background. I think the bigger kit did come with white, but this one didn't. So I'm just pipetting on some emerald green. Let's do green and blue. Let's just do 2 colors. Let's see how that looks. It's opening beautifully. It's floating. It's not a ton of paint sinking. So it's definitely a great quality of paint. So I just want to see if we can get that process to do what we want it to do. Okay, so let's try that. Well, maybe I do need a 3rd color. We'll see. Let's see how we do. I think the other is better. So it says, thank you for trying this kit out so that we can watch. Oh, you're welcome. There are quite a few kits that you can purchase for water marbling. And when I first got started, I was really frustrated that the kit I bought didn't work. And then I kind of found out after the fact that it just didn't have certain pieces of the puzzle, right? And that's what you want. You want to have all the pieces of the puzzle to learn something. It's kind of like cooking in a kitchen, but all your measuring tools are different size than the recipe or something, you know? You want to be set up for success. All right, beautiful. So I do have a few bubbles. I'm not going to pop them. They might leave a splat when we print. I'm not really worried about it in this experiment. Okay, so if you have any questions, put them in the chat there. So what do you need to marble? You've got a tray. I did go with a bigger tray now that I'm using my old carrageenan mix, but when we started, I did a really small tray. For this kit, I had to buy my own pipettes. The items to marble, I pulled out my own handmade tools. I also used a barbecue skewer, some newspaper, and some paper towel. So that's what you have to have to test out this kit. Okay, so water marbled that. I wanted to test, we're going to, okay, it says you can do wood, so let's try this. This is a wood egg. This one has been allumed because I want to test and see what the quality is like. So that's just an egg that's been allumed. I'm gonna dip it. It's a wooden egg. It's not made of egg. So that worked really well. That's the allumed one. I'm gonna give it a rinse. I'm just gonna throw it in the water while you're still looking that way. Okay, so that turned out really good. No running, no bleeding. Looks really good. I'm just gonna go hang that up behind me here. So that one turned out really good. Wow, the colors are bright. So it's a great quality of color. So that's awesome. Okay, so that one had an alum treatment. Now we're gonna test it out onto the same egg, but no alum treatment onto wood. Bear with me, it's on the ground because I had to keep the stuff separate. I didn't want to get everything mixed up. Okay, so no alum treatment. This is just bare wood in an egg shape going into the same tray. I like this spot. Okay, so that's what it looks like pre-rinse. I'm gonna give it a rinse in water just to get that gel off of the outside of it. Okay, so I might have to, I don't know if you can see that the lines are kind of running a bit. Yeah. So I would say like, I don't know. I think if you want the best result with this kit, I would say aluming the stuff. Aluming the items is gonna definitely give you a better result for your print, because this is definitely running and moving. You're not getting those really strong lines. But let's see what that looks like when it dries. Now, I'm just gonna take a second and label my clip so that I remember which one got alum and which one did not. So I'm just gonna label that no alum. There we go. Now I can't mix it up. So that way, I like to get really good, clear, what's the word? Experiment results, I guess. So that I can kind of see this is what actually my result was. Just gonna do some figure eights because I'm not gonna waste this paint. It's really beautiful. We're going to do a few more tests. Tell me what you think. There we go. Okay, so let's do some paper here. I love water marbled paper because I think it's so fabulous. All right, so we've got those little figure eights there that we did. All right, we're gonna bend it up. Of course, did I iron my paper? No, you all know the answer to that. No, I did not. Should I have? Yes, I should have. That's okay. My fingers are just gonna get a little painty today. I left my cardboard over here. Hold on. My fancy pantsy cardboard. All right. I'm gonna yeah, here he comes. Wow, that's a pretty one. Yeah. So I'm gonna give that a rinse because that's the allumed, it's the allumed paper. So let's see how that rinses. Just gonna scoop up some water. Oh, or send it right into the bath apparently. Who knew? Okay. So that's just a water rinse that it got. Yeah. Quite a bit of water. But came out like a beautiful print. So yeah. I don't know. If this was the only kit that you could get your hands on, I would say test it and try it. But I would say you're gonna get a way better result if you alum your paper first, because that's allumed paper. Yeah. That's disappointing because I was so excited thinking, oh yeah, we're gonna have another kit to recommend that you can play with, right? Ugh, that's okay. All right, she's gonna drip and dry. Okay. All right, let's keep going. So we've tested it out on paper, tested it out on wood. Me and my chair. I know, you guys are probably like, Krista, get rid of the chair. You need somewhere to sit, right? All right, so let's do some more color options and